Hi everybody, I am Harley and welcome to TransByDef on Saturdays. Just a few updates. Got a couple of stories to share. I got a haircut. Woohoo! um, I needed to get the back really handled, so I done that, and I get a short haircut because of me being part-time, going to work. Going to work as a boy, I need to kind of, but anyways, so that's kind of that. But when I went to the salon, this is my second time going to the salon, and ever like that. I usually go to like Great Clips or something when I was boy mode, and stuff like that. But I went to the salon and I sit down and everyone's just chatting and like, so what are you gonna get? And I'm like, oh my god, and I'm like, oh, I was just so happy. And I'm like, I'm just gonna get a haircut. And they're like, I'm doing highlights, you should do some highlights. And I'm like, oh my god. And they're like showing me like things, and it was just so friendly. And I was like, oh my god, I'm just so like, oh, that was so cool. Very good feeling to be accepted like that. So then, you get my haircut, but the other thing is I never knew where you sit in that chair and that halo goes over. I never knew what that was. I was so stupid, but that was like, yeah, I was just like, it's a blower. It like there's a timer, and it blows cold air, then hot air, then back to cold air, and it's so amazing. Like that was really fun, and I was just like, oh my god, it's so cool doing these things. And I mean, it really made me feel good inside, and I mean, I'll do it again, definitely. So then that was that. Yesterday, another story. Um, I get ready and I look so like I was just I had it going yesterday, and I had these nice shirt on and some leggings that had some slits where the thighs are, and underneath the leggings is a liner of fishnet stockings, and with some like rose decorations in there. Um, so it looks cool, and let me tell you, my thighs were, very like exposed that way with the fishnet, and my I had sandals on, so my feet are completely exposed. So keep that in mind. And so then we go to the movies, and sorry, um, so we go to the movies, and I had to go to the bathroom. So number one, so I go in looking at the stalls, and all of them are pretty freaking dirty, except for one. And I mean, they weren't like dirty, like men's bathrooms can be fucking gross. They were like, ugh, like toilet paper and shit like that. But so I go into one, and I'm doing my business. I'm done, and I flush the toilet. Everything goes down. I'm like about to exit, and the thing is, you have to pull the door. So I was having trouble getting the door open. As soon as I like figure out the toilet like does a blowhole, and I'm like, and I was just like, oh my god, I got sprayed everywhere, and I was just like, I felt like Lucy or something. And I'm like, oh my, I just felt like shit. Because it was literally from the toilet. And I was just like, I mean, but it wasn't shit, it was just water. And I was just like, oh my god. And it was like, it got all over my arm, all over my exposed thighs, and all over my feet. And I'm just like, the person I was with was in the restroom too, and like they didn't know I was crying, and I'm like, and then she's like, what? And I'm like, the thing did a, yeah, I was just telling her, and I'm like, oh my, and she's like, oh my god, and I'm like trying to like get it all off, and I'm like, ugh, so I'm like taking a bath in the sink. But that was like an experience, just want to share. So anyways, so today's topic is resistance, and it's brought to you by Emma. So resistance, like there's a lot of resistance and in life, and when you're transgender, you get a little bit more, and some of the things is like in transitioning, one of the things that you're really hoping is your parents are supportive. And if not, you are going to get the hardest resistance for transitioning, because now you have to say, well, it's my life or my family, and you're trying to figure that out, and that's a hard decision. That is extremely tough and rough. Um, it's just one of those things that is unfortunate, and it sucks when not everyone understands the situation, and you have rebellious. I think my phone's ringing. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Boom! All right, so where was I? Okay, so yeah, so parents like that. All right, so the other thing is you have a lot of resistance, and this is what I've experienced, is actually going out dressed. One of the problems is, hormones does a lot. It reduces your body mass with the muscles and makes you look more presentable as a female. And it's rough when sometimes certain therapists or something like that, I've heard some therapists want you to be out there before they give you hormones as a girl. And that's rough. That's rough because you're going to look like a dude, like built frame and things like that. And, I've experienced a little bit of that because when I first went out, I was on hormones, but it was rough. I mean, it's rough. It's like, yeah, people start staring, and especially in the beginning of like when you're trying to dress up, people start staring because you don't have your makeup on right, or something looks odd, and it's things like that, and it makes you feel really, really uncomfortable, and you just want to go home and things like that, and that's like just from society like that, of feeling that way. And sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and get used to it, and other times you just need to adjust. There's also resistance inside communities, and this is something I definitely want to say because, like for example, there's you probably heard on the news in U.S. about I think 17-year-old black kid who was wearing a hoodie and got shot and killed, and then all of a sudden, you're hearing all over the news, and even the president is talking about it, and people are like, oh, it's just because he's black, and things like that, and, there was a Hispanic, the shooter, and the officer was white, and here's the thing, it's possible it could be a racist thing about the whole situation, about why, the shooting and stuff. However, the thing is, the black community is strong. They are well connected. There's not too many disagreements in the situation, and that is a beautiful thing because when you have a community that strong, they can really do anything. And it's sometimes I wish the transgender community was that strong, and I think eventually it will get there. But the thing is, like I said, there's resistance, and there's resistance inside the transgender community. And I didn't know this. And sometimes there's bickering against non-ops and post-ops. And sometimes it's just, different labels, and there's like a hierarchy or something, and it's very upsetting because the whole point is to be accepted for who you are, and that's really what it should be, acceptance of how you feel and who you are inside. I'm right, you're wrong, I'm big, you're small, things like that. It's like, stop being ego, and let's let's be who we want to be, and that's enough. Just appreciate and understand the beauty behind a person, and that's really what it needs to be. So there's that. Here's a story I had, kind of like discrimination against transgenders. I went to the movies again, always at the movies, and I get like one of those Slurpee freeze frame drinks, and I asked the guy, I said, do you have one of those like straws for the Slurpees? Can I get one, please? And I said really nice, and he's like, I don't. He doesn't even speak. He goes and points to the straws for the regular sodas, and I'm like, you don't have like the big ones, the thick ones, the ones that for these type of drinks? And he's like that, and he gives me this foul look, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like grabbing it, and my friend, thank God he was there, he goes and says, you don't have one of those Slurpee straws and stuff, and like that, and then he goes and reaches behind the counter and gives it to him, and I was like, what just happened there? And I was like, fuck, and this was like early in my transition, so I kind of looked, I definitely looked a lot more boyish, and yeah, I was like, fuck you, so that was another thing. Alright, so here's like oh my god, here's like a conclusion. So the conclusion is, in life we're gonna have lots of resistance coming in, and the thing is, you have to take it by the horns and control it. Is the transition to take your life and fulfill what you want, and that's really some good advice, because you feel better about yourself, and you start being more joyous. I don't even, did I say that right? You start feeling better about yourself, and you start spreading your love to other people, because instead of you being so like hurt inside, and you start spreading it. Also, to remember to be careful of, especially when you're trans, a lot of times you're doing stuff for yourself, which kind of rules into selfishness. Just be careful of that, because you may get lost in your selfishness, and you have to remember, because when you get, say for example, you're doing what you need to do, and then you get to the point where you're done transitioning, you just got so into that mode of everything for yourself, you're going to continue doing it that way because it worked for you. Just try to realize that yes, you need to do what you need to do for yourself, but remember, when you get all done, remember who you are. So also, like I said, when there's going to be cards that you're going to be dealt with that you're not going to like. The thing is, it's like Go Fish, or not Go Fish, or some kind of card game where you can pick up some cards, and whether or not you like it, you can distribute it. Now, you might not like the next card, but eventually you're going to do what you need to do, and you're going to get around those resistance field. And if you're having trouble, seek some help, professional or friends, or hopefully support groups. And I bid you all a farewell, and I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Bye. Love you all.